Hi, my name is Leo, and for my cultural nutrition project, I decided to make an Eastern European borscht following my mom's recipe. So, to get into a little bit of history, borscht is considered one of the most famous and kind of legendary foods for many Slavic people. The transformation of borscht began in the 16th century when Ukrainians, influenced by the Romans, began incorporating beets into the recipe. Beets were not only affordable and nutritious, but also added a sweet taste and vibrant color to the soup. This new version of borscht quickly spread to neighboring regions and eventually became a cornerstone of local cuisine. As borscht traveled across the borders and through generations, it absorbed local flavors and ingredients, becoming the diverse and beloved dish known today. Delving into the cultural significance, borscht is truly a symbol of home, a bearer of traditions, and a point of pride. Each family often passes down its recipe, each version telling its own story and history. In Ukraine, where borscht is deeply intertwined with national identity, the soup takes center stage during major celebrations and family gatherings. During Christmas Eve celebrations, borscht takes a prominent place on the table, being among the 12 traditional Ukrainian dishes. Beyond festive occasions, borscht is also a gesture of hospitality and community. It is featured at various gatherings, and its cultural significance is also evident in regional rituals. For instance, in Eastern Ukrainian region called Podillia, the third day of a wedding is affectionately known as the Nevyestki na Borscht, which means visit the daughter-in-law to eat borscht. This little custom underlines borscht's importance in welcoming and honoring new family ties. So nutritionally, if we look at the cutting board of ingredients in front, we'll see that the beef is the main source of protein as well as vitamin B12. There wasn't too much fat in the dish considering that we used a more lean cut of meat. And then the beef also had a good amount of iron as well. The potatoes, cabbage, carrot, onion, and tomato sauce provided the carbs as well as a mix of vitamin C and B6 and potassium. Alright, so now moving on to the cooking process, we first turn on the heat, and once the water's hot enough, we toss in the meat. Usually cooking the meat in the water takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Once the meat's in there, we put in the carrots, and then some bay leaves and peppercorns for extra flavor. We also put an onion in there. The next step is to cook the beets, and we do this by boiling them. And while that's cooking, I shredded up some potatoes. Next, we take the fat that rose to the top and remove it. And the important part here is to cut it into bite-sized pieces, just so they're easy to eat in the soup. And we cut up the cabbage. Again, it's important to cut them into thin little pieces. That's done, we take the carrots out of the water so we can shred them down later. Then we take some beef fat from the soup, toss it onto a pan, and get some onions. Then get some flipping action going. Or shredding down the carrots, which we add to the onions in the pan and mix it all up. And also add some tomato sauce into it. And then we'll start shredding up the beets, which we also add into the mixture. Get out, and then separate it from the bones and cut it into smaller pieces, just so again, it's easy to eat and the same texture as everything else. Next step is to put our mixture into the rest of the stew, and also add some fresh beets, as well as the cabbage. Once that's mixed in, we take our dill and parsley, we chop it up, and we mix it in with the rest of the soup. Sort of with some sour cream and then extra cream. So here's the final product. Making the soup was definitely a process. I think in total it took about 2 to 3 hours, but I think it was definitely worth it in my opinion. There was a really good mix of ingredients and a lot of flavors going on at once. I think my favorite part was the mix of the beets and the cabbage because it added a good thickness to the soup, and then the sour cream as well because it really balanced everything out. If you have the ingredients at home, I would definitely recommend to try to make this. Thank you.